Kenya's Mobius. This is a African company. This is a African automotive brand. Kenya's Mobius Motors, which started making low-price SUVs designed for African roads a decade ago, has decided to stop operation due to financial challenges. A company statement and shareholder sources released these information on Tuesday. Mobius, founded by a London-born investor who experienced the continent's bumpy road while working for a forestry company in Kenya, found tax hikes in the East African country meant its business model was no longer sustainable. The source at one of the company's shareholder told Reuters the business could not sustain itself. There were some challenges, the sources has said in a statement. The owner considered moving production to a different country, but that option was rejected due to logistics of challenges of moving the existing assembly line from Nairobi. Mobius initially produced a boxy, no-frills SUV designed for modest consumers, going for 1.3 million Kenyan shillings, equivalent to about $13,000 at the time and roughly half the price of an imported second-hand SUV. It later launched updated editions with extra features. Mobius, whose investors include Britain Playfair Capital, was a part of the push by investors and governors on the continent to create jobs by launching homegrown vehicle manufacturers. They included Kenya's Kera Motors, Ghana's Kantanka, and Nigeria's base Inison Motor. At the same time, global automakers such as the Japanese Toyota Group and VW's and Germany's Volkswagen AG also boasted their investment in markets including Kenya and Rwanda to tap into growing economies and rising consumer demands. They all, however, face the same challenges: stiff competition from second-hand imports from abroad. Creditors will meet on the 15th of August to vote on the voluntary liquidation, the company, which was not listed, said in a statement that appeared in newspapers. Now let's try to understand this on a more personal level. This is a homegrown, home-built manufacturing business. This is an African automotive company, something of which I'm sure the African continent is quite proud of, something that Kenya can be proud of. Now, to see a company like this going through difficult times and facing complete shutdown of their factory and sales of these vehicles, complete shutdown of the company, if I'm being completely honest, this is not a good look for the country. Think of the jobs that would be lost in this process. Think of all the hard work that went into building this company and the brand. Think of all that will be lost. You know, when other companies are going through a difficult time, these companies include Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, Volkswagen, Ford, Tesla. You know what happens to these companies when they're going through a difficult time? The country rescues them. The country rescues them. Germany is notorious for rescuing its companies, its car companies, such as Volkswagen, Porsche, such as Mercedes and BMW. These companies are some of the biggest manufacturers in the world. You know why? Because they were rescued by the German government multiple times. Because the importance of these brands to the German economy is way more important than one could ever expect. Think of the jobs that are providing, not just in manufacturing, but in designing, in engineering. Think of the entrepreneurship that it provides. Think of the inspiration that it provides. That as a student in school, you can actually study to work for your home country. So as students in Kenya, they could actually study to work for a company like Mobius. Not to disappear to a European country and work for another competitor, but to work within your home country in Africa and to work for an African automotive brand. These students could further do design and engineering. They could do financing, business management. The list is unlimited. They could do manufacturing. They could do customer and sales relation. The list is unlimited. So the fact that a company like this is shutting down, it sets a terrible precedent for the country. It really does, because this is not the direction the country should be going in. The country should be aiming to help, to aid development of new companies, new automotive brands to the continent, to the country of Kenya. Not watch Mobius suffers. Not watch this company just go down the drain. Perhaps the company needs additional investment. Perhaps the company requires better management and CEOs. But this is what a country is supposed to do. They're supposed to rescue their own companies, especially a company that can sell vehicles that are more affordable to Africans. So if this company actually doesn't get rescued by the Kenyan government, I think this says a lot about what the government's priorities are. And if the priority is you want your citizens to lose the work that they have and to lose your homegrown automotive brand, I don't see how the country is moving forward. If anything, that is a backwards perspective, a backwards way of thinking. I could say more on this, but really and truly, we're trying to understand the nuances that comes in this. Now, when you visit the Mobius website, this is what it looks like. You might be shocked. You might be surprised. You might be absolutely in awe of these vehicles, as I've been. I've certainly been very much impressed by these vehicles, and I can't see how a brand like this, with vehicles that are actually somewhat iconic to the continent, iconic to the state, I don't see how they can allow something like this to just let it go without a fight, to just let it go without aid and without helping a homegrown brand. There are further looks into this, into the Mobius 2. This is what the Mobius 2 looks like. It sort of reminds me of a Land Rover Discovery or something like that, or a Land Rover Defender. It certainly has similar inspirations, but at the same time, it's also very different. But I can see why things like this will be very useful in an African country because it can deal with all terrain, not just luxury, not just off-roading, but everything. Brands like brands like these should be gaining more support from the citizens. They should be gaining more supports from the government. Brands like this should not lack investment, lack opportunities in a prosperous country as Kenya, a country that wants to move forward, a country that's actually been doing very good in recent years, especially economically. But as you can see, there's still a lot of challenges. And I think Mobius is a very good example of how the country doesn't have its priorities in order. There should be more companies like this, not less. There should be more companies thriving for excellence, not less. It is actually quite a shame that this company is going through this difficulty and it doesn't seem like it will be rescued. And if that is the case, where this company just isn't rescued, that would be very unfortunate. That would be beyond unfortunate because you know what? If the vehicle is reliable, and you can let me know this if you live in Kenya, if you've been around these vehicles, if you know anyone who's purchased this vehicle, if you know anything about these vehicles, are they reliable? Because if they are reliable, then why shouldn't the citizens support these brands more? Why shouldn't the government support these companies more? If you can create one car company, you can create multiple more. Now, as I've said previously, the owner did consider relocation of the company, but the option was dismissed due to logistics, of course. Now, that's understandable because that's not an easy thing to do. Moving countries is like creating a brand new company in another country. Honestly, that's literally what it's like. It's unideal. An expansion plan would be more preferable. Mobius, which raised $56 million across 5 funding rounds, manufactured affordable SUVs aimed at small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, in infrastructure, agriculture businesses, and supply sectors. Something key to understand is that the firm did not give reason for the voluntary liquidation. Its exit, however, come on the back of debt and tax dispute with the Kenyan Revenue Authority. And this is what I mean. When things like this happen, when there's mishap, when there is something inappropriate that's occurring within the company, that is when the law gets involved. That is where the government gets involved and perhaps take over the company and find it better leadership. With Kenya being such a thriving place of young entrepreneur and leadership, not to mention within the technology space, finding young people who would be more committed to reviving such a company would actually be a very smart plan, as it would give the younger people a more steady environment to work in. Not to mention actual employment, actual experience. Think about it, how many college students there are or university students within Kenya who want experience working for an automotive brand. Think about that for a minute. There's so much you can do for an automotive brand. The country of Kenya could use this company to literally develop a wide range of job opportunities and career paths. And they could specifically target this at the university students, the college students, people who are thriving for excellence. But as I said, I don't live in Kenya. I would love to visit someday. I do intend on visiting. But until then, I would rely on you to provide me with the information I need. Tell me what you know about this brand. Has the leadership been good so far, or has it been underwhelming? Has the leadership been unprofessional? What really happened to this brand? Why won't the government rescue this brand? And why was it really shut down? And also, a company like this, I simply don't understand how it can just be closed down. What about potential buyers? What about potential buyers? There are always new investors want to engage with the African continent in purchasing new businesses and developing new businesses. So is there any opportunities out there that this brand could be bought out? Still based in Africa, still based in Kenya, but bought out and planned for wider expansion for the brand. Is there such opportunities or a possible merger with another African brand? Have these things really been discussed? It is really difficult to get information on this because it literally just seems like there might have been some legal issues, and rather than facing it, it looks like liquidation was just their cleanest way to get out of this business. And that's just me giving my personal opinion. That's what it seems like. But like I said, for you who live in Kenya, I would like to know from you what's really going on. Now, I do hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching so far. Subscribe to see more. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I will see you in our next video. Thank you for watching.